Heroes fans to the Heroes of the Storm Fall Championship at opening week of BlizzCon. As promised, I'm showing you a little bit of behind the scenes of what happens here at a tournament of this scale. As you can see all around me are PCs where players are practicing, but you may notice these players aren't practicing Heroes of the Storm. These are our Overwatch brethren. They're sharing the studio with us, and their broadcast will be coming up later. Ours is still going on, and as you can see around the sides of the room are small rooms where Heroes of the Storm teams can go, close the door, practice, and discuss strategy. This has been really important for a lot of them as they like to have a private area to discuss their, more secret strats. You can also see that there's monitors around here where we can watch the feed of Heroes. We've been sharing information with our Overwatch teams, and they've been teaching us about their game. And you can also see that there are coaches as well as other teams standing behind the players as they practice. I mentioned yesterday that one thing I love so much about tournaments like this is the goodwill, the sharing, and the community that comes from it. So especially at a global tournament like this, where many of these players have never had the chance to meet in person, or they're trying to learn the meta from other regions, it's really helpful to have an awesome atrium like this to spend practice time in. I've enjoyed watching the match from back here, and I can't wait to get into this game too. Jake, can you take us there?
Oh, thanks so much. And I would be happy to, but before we do, I just want to talk about how awesome that room is. Having a room full of global Overwatch players, you walk around, you hear like 14 different languages in like 1 minute.
One of the things that I actually had was that one of the German players came over to me, and it turns out that it's a guy who I played with in Warcraft 3 times.
Oh.
And who I never met before. So that was really, really fun. And it's just awesome to have like players from different games here.
Blizzard family, we are all one. Well, it's time to jump into the draft as it is actually underway. So let's get a bit of a recap here. Illidan and Zeratul both banned right out of the gates, followed by that first pick ETC. Then we saw the Muradin and Falstad scooped up here for Fnatic, followed by Tychus and Malfurion. So Zero Panda, well-rounded. Second bans just went through with Chen and Brightwing. What do you guys think?
Thank you for the recap. That was great.
What I think is that Zero Panda made a really smart move with taking ETC away from Fnatic here.
Definitely.
The last time that we saw them. First of all, they I love it. Okay, so it's all about the globals. Let's just put it like this. This is the reason why I feel the ETC pick was so great. Not only because Fnatic prefers it, but because they've shown on Sky Temple how much they prioritize those collapses onto a different lane. And I think in order to compensate for that, they now pick Dehaka.
I love the steal on Dehaka too, but they were playing a lot of global heroes yesterday. That was Fnatic's style on Sky Temple, and it worked very well to keep them up in experience, even if they lost a hero here and there. And this is, again, one of the ways that Zero Panda compensates for their constant rotations for fights is having global. So Fnatic prioritizing that and stealing them away is very impressive.
Yeah, it's really impressive, I gotta say, especially with the fact that Zero Panda, obviously they went with Malfurion, but then banned Brightwing out, of course. So now the 2 on the side of Fnatic against the 1 currently of Zero Panda. I'm wondering where else they go, because to keep up with what Fnatic showed yesterday was very difficult.
Yeah, and seeing this draft makes me so happy. I mean, they're showing a few things, but I can promise you one thing. You have seen nothing yet. So Dehaka in this setup will, together with Falstad, try to look for these lane snipes, as we've seen yesterday already against Easter. Zero Panda, on the other hand, they go for Azul right now. So they actually have a fair amount of lockdown here with the Bone Prison on Azul. We have Malfurion with the roots, ETC with the slide. They need to really try and force Fnatic to play their game. I feel that was lacking in the first match completely. And I'm, of course, very happy for Fnatic, but I must say I was a bit disappointed with how Zero Panda performed in game number 1.
Yeah, the draft seemed 180 from what I had seen from Zero Panda at Gold League, which was just crazy to see that stark of a difference, especially given that they had told us that they felt like the same type of playstyle was still great for them. Given, though, the meta has changed a lot, so maybe this is the playstyle that they had developed since then.
Kalaris, how do you feel about this Zul pickup? Because sure, it makes a lot of sense on the last map where Zul is prominent in the rotations, but Sky Temple not so much, and it seems like a bit of an odd pick. Oh, but with the Sylvanas,
yeah,
it makes a little more sense.
It kind of makes me feel like, you know how we saw the objective on Infernal Shrines be completely ignored yesterday? They could, in theory, Zero Panda could take that lesson and do that with this composition. That's so much lane power behind all of this.
But when you look at Zero Panda, Gilly, are they a team that is about split pushing? That's not really what they're known for, is it?
They might have adapted their style for that. One thing I will tell you is Chinese meta love their specialists, especially Sylvanas.
Oh yeah, we see a lot from it over in the Chinese region.
Well, that last pick was, in fact, Rhaegar at the end of the day. Kaldor, the man, the Fnatic hype train himself. How do you like their draft?
I like Fnatic's draft because I can see the strategy behind it. I have to admit that I'm completely drawing a blank looking at Zero Panda. This goes...
It's got to be pushed.
Well, yeah, but
Beyond
this
that, I don't
goes
know.
against everything that I have seen them do in scrims.
Yeah.
And that surprises me. And also it goes a little bit against what we expect from a Chinese team. We've been going on about how aggressive these guys play, how they like to go into the fights, how they are forcing them, how they are setting up these traps. So seeing this now, a Sylvanas and Azul, I'm a little bit surprised to see that style of play come out of them in a draft, and I'm not quite sure if that is really their way to approach a game.
I mean, as soon as I saw the Zul being picked up, I was like, oh, okay, they're going to take some extra damage to follow behind what that is.
Exactly.
And then it's a Sylvanas, which kind of brushes you with a soft caress. I mean, it's slightly odd, you know?
I mean, when we talk Sylvanas, what have we talked about this tournament? We talk about the Wailing Arrow, we talk about a heavy engagement, we're trying to collapse onto your opponent. The Wailing Arrow drops the silence, usually have a melee assassin going in with it, maybe a Karrigan, for example, and you really try to use your stun heroes, your stun tanks at the front to lock those targets down.
I guess
we don't have that here.
the one thing I do see here is with Stage Dive as an initiation, you follow that up with the Skeletal Mages to really kind of control that space. You have roots. If you can get a big drill with a Wailing Arrow and cause chaos and have all that slow in CC, maybe it does have some strong team fight. Obviously it's new though. That's not a common team fight composition.
You put Zul in top, rotating between potentially, holding on to those lanes, super push in the bottom with Sylv and the rest. Maybe they're going to try to draw Fnatic down and then they can do something with the shrines. I don't know.
Yeah.
I am very concerned, but I am excited to see what kind of strategy. This is obviously a strategy that they were ready to go into, though.
I feel like the weight's on Malfurion. I feel like him getting good roots and then for everybody else to then kind of focus on that point would be kind of the go-to, but admittedly other components of this could do similar things, but if Malfurion's able to set it up, then everybody else's attention can just really focus on that one point.
Well, guys, we are ready to jump on into game number 2 here on Sky Temple. Take it away, Kaldor and Kalaris.
Well, we are on Sky Temple and it's game number 2. Thank you very much, Jake. We're heading straight into our second match. And of course, Fnatic is in the 1-0 lead, but to the left, we have Gemini and Malfurion for Zero Panda. We have M on Zul, C on Sylvanas. 6 is playing the ETC at the front line, and SK on Tigers.
And then to the right-hand side, it is Team Fnatic hailing from Europe as we have Breeze playing Muradin, Quagnix on Falstad, Shrimpy on Li Ming, Smexy will be on Rhaegar, and finally Wooby, it's Dahaka time, my friend.
I am very excited to see how Zero Panda is going to play this draft. I was very skeptical during the draft phase, and I'm sure that they have some strategy prepared for this. There seems to be a lot of counter play on the side of Fnatic against what they can do with these heroes, but I'm sure that the Chinese have a secret strategy that they're going to show us now.
And with Falstad being the pickup there from Fnatic, means that they just flew to that tower. They knew they wouldn't actually be rivaled. They've dispersed already to lanes, getting prepared. So no 5-man attack down middle. They don't want that.
Look at Breeze. He just stands in the bush and he's saying like, yeah, I'm not going to move an inch away from here. I'm going to stay safe. I know what you guys are doing. The Chinese teams, they love to play with vision, we know that. And at the beginning, Fnatic doesn't see a single hero on the lane, and that means stay as close to your own towers and the gate as you possibly can.
Chill out. I mean, look at where Smexy is right now, next to the tower up towards that fort. He's not going anywhere as towards the middle. They don't really have too much vision on them. Shrimpy, likewise, is hoping for a little bit of extra damage, but not getting anything.
Yeah, that's the way that you have to play. You only start moving when you know exactly where your opponent is. When they start showing on map, then you can also start to approach that. As long as they don't get experience, you don't necessarily have to move out and try to kill creeps yourself. So Fnatic with a very passive approach into the early game. But again, the Chinese push meta, they're looking for the kill, and Quagnix is ready.
That was ambitious. No, the interesting thing would have been if they'd have got that power slide down. Yes, they're in range of towers, but Sylvanas would have instantly shut them down. So, even right next to your own towers, you've got to be careful.
Quagnix with the Swedish reflexes there. That worked out for him. So far, we are seeing the objective, of course, appear on the map. Both of the temples are active, and this is where the fighting begins. Shrimpy already looking for a couple of shots opportunities against, especially Tychus. He has the damage dealer. And up at the top lane, the temple hasn't even been approached yet, so it's all about the mid lane now.
Yep, and Fnatic try and scramble them off of this. Quacknick's coming in for the reinforcement here on towards Malfurion, doing some damage to Gemini. Panda, sorry, 6 is actually going to end up falling there as well. But M doing good damage on towards Muradin. 1-for-1 trade, and they need to back off to Fnatic.
Very nice counter here by Zero Panda. I like that quite a lot. Fnatic is trying to do what they did yesterday. They are flying in with false set super fast. They use the Haka as well. They isolate a target and drop it down. But Breeze paid the price, so it is an exchange, a kill for kill.
That tag's too big. I'm going to call them all Panda at some point. It's just Panda going in, Panda here, Panda there. There's no Chen in this game, so I don't even care. But for now...
And no Lily. Don't forget about Lily, my friend.
Oh, no, no. Nobody...
Especially you.
Exactly. Nobody in the European team will let me forget about Lily.
I'm still waiting for that cosplay.
One day, one day.
Well, right now we're having China in a lead here. Level 5, nearly level 6. Down at the bottom of the lane, it's Zul who's pushing it in quite heavily. He's the one rotating, and currently the one meeting him there is Dehaka. But with the temple in the mid lane already gone, the top is the focus of attention.
Yeah, and not doing too bad to push them off. Of course, Zero Panda at the moment have that experienced lead. If they continue to soak this lane, they'd eventually grab themselves that level 7, especially if they keep contesting this temple. Contesting it and soaking right here means that eventually Fnatic has to back away.
Yeah, so far a couple of decent shots from Shrimpio, was able to push Tigers back. We're seeing them yet again yielding the spot though. And the objective really going to the first round at least to Zero Panda. The team is doing very well here. And now we have Zul also rotating up, waiting for a good opportunity to use a bone prison.
They don't know that all 5 members are up here. Dehaka actually walked in a very safe direction from bot to middle. So that meant that they didn't know all 5 were there. But they played it very cautiously still anyway, knowing that as the vision would be played with.
The thing is, playing it cautiously currently means giving up the objective, and they did that already quite a bit, so they're losing structures here, which is definitely not good. Then again, I mean, this fort is going to fall. They were at least able to utilize the global on Falster to fly down and get a bit of experience, so they're trying to take some away from Zero Panda. In XP, they're not too far behind, but the structural advantage that we have for the Chinese team right now is pretty significant.
Oh yeah, not doing too bad at all here. A really good start for them. Maybe pushing this into a game 3 later on, as they will take the Giants towards the bottom. And this is where the focus now shifts, obviously, with that second temple phase coming up.
Currently, it really feels to me that Fnatic is saying we have no problem yielding a bit in the early game. We're just like waiting for our heroics to come in and we're taking it later. But Smexy all of a sudden gets isolated after all at the bot lane. We're seeing Sylvanas jumping in very aggressively then as well, taking down Rhaegar, and now Fnatic is on the back foot.
I love how Smexy tried to escape there. You might think, but he ran back into them. But if he'd have ran forwards, he would have been rooted. So it's very difficult. Whoa, Malfurion! Oh well, yeah, bye Malfurion.
Yeah, that's the power of globals.
Yep.
Dehaka is making some plays. Yeah, great job by Whoopi. So they get the counter kill against the support. That was a very nice move here. As I said before, it feels like Fnatic is absolutely okay giving a bit of ground in the early stages, but once the heroics are in play, they will make their plays. Let's not forget, the second temple phase is about to start.
Yep, true, true. Taking this hard camp towards the top, they're bruisers. And likewise, on the other side, you're seeing Sylvanas position herself with other members to try and take it in equal tow. Now, that's better, really, for Zero Panda, even though they're doing exactly the same thing, because they have their fort up there, up and running. So the lane is more likely to be pushed up towards the top for Zero Panda.
They have, of course, the advantage with the global heroes that they have. Fnatic is just in a position where they can defend against those and then fly back down. Or simply use Dehaka to their purpose. And that is actually a huge advantage that they have at this point over Zero Panda.
Dehaka and Falstad are still up there, so they're going to clean that up and then use their globals to actually push back. Something that I didn't really anticipate them doing. I thought they would have already gone down, but they're using this time super effectively. And this is going to keep Sylvanas up here for a while if she doesn't want to lose too much of the wall there.
Exactly, and they can at any point then move down as well. But of course we have the level 10 just a tiny bit faster for Zero Panda, and that is a huge game changer. Right now they're Zul, they're jumping in, even though without the heroic ability, they still won the kill, but ETC is there with a stage dive, and Fnatic is too greedy. They go in without the heroic, and they're paying the price.
Perfect reactions by ETC. Very, very well done indeed. They've got their level 10s now, but it was just a little bit too late. Isolation coming in for Dehaka, whereas we saw that adaptation being taken earlier on in the day, and doing very, very well.
I feel it was a pretty sloppy move by Fnatic. You see that ETC has stage dive, you have to anticipate that he's going to try and jump in. If you get the kill early enough against Zul, then yes, you might be able to get away with it. But the risk that you have when the temple has just been activated is way too big.
Yeah, thankfully for them, they've actually got a little bit of a grasp of some of the final shots, but it's a consolation prize really at this point, as Zero Panda is doing very, very well about controlling this map, controlling the temples, and so far, 2 forts for Zero. Good job, Pandas.
The stage has been set for the mid game now, though. We have the heroic abilities in play, and this is really the moment when we once again see those team fights approach. Here we go. Silence already used on Breeze, who popped Avatar just before. Mighty Gust from Quacknick saving him as well. Again, the drag into the Haka value as Zul is eliminated.
Very well done by Wubby there to actually pick that up during all of that chaos, really. As for now, Fnatic just going to go back to their lanes, get some soaking done here while the Giants are being done by Zero Panda. I thought maybe Fnatic would move from mid lane to maybe do a little bit of an invade, but they weren't on that minimap.
3 kills against 3, and we are pretty even in experience. The structural advantage still goes to the Chinese team, but this is the moment where Fnatic is really going to try and make their plays. We've been talking, wow. That is very optimistic what they're doing here.
If Fnatic delays, it's 15 seconds until Gust's up. If they show presence and delay, then that could be easily stolen. They've got to be careful.
I am super interested how this is going to go. I did not expect this by Zero Panda at all. But you are right, that Gust is huge. And up at the top lane, the Haka can even go behind them into the bush.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting move by Zero Panda. I'm not sure if that's going to work out.
And ETC coming in here, trying to knock them away. But will the false tag actually work out here? As Breeze has actually jumped already on. The drag off the point! The drag off the point from Wubby! Brilliant stuff! Oh my god, that is a great little steal there from Fnatic.
Unbelievable plays here coming out of the Swedish team. It's a double kill. They go for the triple. They want Zul as well as Breeze is starting to chase him. And Zero Panda is falling apart.
Oh, Wubby. I mean, don't care about Gust, whatever. Seeing Dahaka being able to just drag that member off. Oh, that was brilliant stuff, and they're going to get so much value from that Kaldor.
That was amazing for them, and we are going to look at that, of course, again. What an incredible move. Watch the Haka, watch the Gust. He drags them off. It wasn't even the Gust alone. They heal immediately on Breeze, who was attacked, of course. He steals the boss away, and after that, it's just kill after kill after kill as Fnatic cleans house.
The slightly funny thing about that is that with Wubby falling now, is that the drag actually stopped him from being hit by Gust, and he power slid on to the point where it almost got him back on there. But so good reactions from both sides.
Still look cool.
Yeah, still looks cool. Still looks cool.
But yeah, I mean, I have to question the decision of Zero Panda to go for it. They felt very confident. They should have at least checked the bush. But at the same time, we also have to say that it was just absolutely great understanding of the game and of the situation that Snexy was in that bush and saw it.
Yeah.
Just imagining him not being there, coming in 5 seconds later, that boss could have already been stolen. So Zero Panda, maybe with a big risk, but Fnatic with very good game understanding here.
I think it proves that you support not only a heal bot.
Yeah, exactly.
Put him in bush.
You know, it's easy to just criticize that move, but if you don't know that there's a Rhaegar sitting right next in the bush, we have perfect vision, they don't. So that was very well played from Fnatic.
Yeah, it's really kind of stealing some of the momentum back in this game now as Zero Panda, whoa, going over towards that Bruiser camp, up towards the top. And Sylvanas is going to join. But they saw Sylvanas' movement just then with that wave. So they must know that, yeah, look, they know because of Sylvanas' movement from towards the top.
So far, I feel in the first game we had like 1 or 2 situations where these traps have worked out for Zero Panda, but ever since then, Fnatic really, they must have put some like buttons on their monitor, just like never approach a bush without checking first, something like that. This is like the one rule against the Chinese, and they took that lesson to heart.
It's a minor thing, but it's actually a little bit costly for them to check bushes compared to, say, having a Malfurion where you just got Moonfire. There are some of these skill shots that they have are a little bit more valuable in terms of mana, but it's, again, a very minor point.
Fnatic currently ahead, 7 kills against 4. They're already in a situation where they can rely on the level 16 talent. It shouldn't really come into play too much since there's currently no objective on the map. There's no camp to be taken. Zero Panda should be able to reach next level before another fight happens. But overall, Fnatic is really in... They have quite a bit of momentum going for them.
Yeah. And as I say that, of course, the pace has slowed down a little because now you can see Fnatic doesn't necessarily want to go and find China in this very, very small window. They could have. They had a bit of a window there where they had the C, but decided not to take it. So China catches up. positioning themselves now for that temple towards the bottom, which at the moment looks like in good position for Fnatic.
And we have a single temple, and Fnatic is actually going to try and give China a taste of their own medicine, attempting to set up a bit of a trap. Decide against that. Well, they could still collapse on maybe even the ETC. Up to the top lane, Dehaka showed for a moment. So let's see if Zero Panda is falling for the trap here. They don't. We have the 4 vs 4 down here. Dehaka trying to put pressure to the top lane, but he will definitely approach soon enough to try and blindside them again.
I want to see M try and find... if he can find someone, throw down that bone prison on someone, and then they get the blow up, because he's got amplified damage now at 16. So that will be one of their keys, but difficult.
ETC will be there. He was waiting for the ETC. There we go. Skeleton mages are in. Quagni's a bit of trouble, but the silence already in. On Zul. Zul's still alive. Is not dying. The Ancestors are already out. We have Dehaka in trouble as once again we're seeing Sylvanas jumping in for more damage.
And he's going to end up, just barely getting away there from Dehaka. This is a great fight from Zero Panda. It's exactly what I said. Zul coming in from the right-hand side and the engagement there. And that's Muradin falling as well. Fnatic are on full retreat here. Have to get out of this position.
Now we're talking. These are the Chinese moves that we've been waiting for. Great play here by Zero Panda. Incredibly well done. They keep their heroes alive the entire time, get a double kill, and now they have a lot of momentum going for themselves. They don't even care about the temple. They're saying, hey, we have Sylvanas. We just push through that keep now.
And they know if they have to back off, they will get that temple. There's still 20 seconds down. Exactly what I wanted to see here from Zero Panda. With Zul wrapping around, he didn't use the bone prison initially, he used skeletal mages, but it accomplishes the same thing there when it really throws them offside. Fnatic responded well with the gust, but it wasn't enough to catch M.
It was such a clutch situation. Zul escaped with barely any hit points left. If he dies there, the fight turns in favor of Fnatic. But with him surviving, Fnatic just lost too much. They dropped so many cooldowns already. It was such a resource-heavy attempt. And then when Zul doesn't die, Zero Panda turns around and takes the battle with an advantage.
Close game so far. A great game coming out from these two teams. As just going to clean up those giants towards the bottom. The boss is up as Muradin checks it for a moment. You can see Breeze at the very left of our screen for a moment there.
I mean, we have Sylvanas here with the Barb Shot as well, and there's a lot of burst damage potential for Zero Panda, so them going for a boss is really not going to take them too long. So you have to have someone around there. And with the globals that they have, they need to use them properly, and that's what they're doing. They have always Dehaka or Falset up at the top lane, always away from the team, always in a situation where they can just use those globals to their best advantage. And yeah, that seems a bit forced.
So it's a bit. So that will mean nothing. They got a gust out of it.
And also cleanse. That was actually like a really nice attempt there. They were trying to make sure that you dodge that gust probably so that ETC can still slide in and go for Falstad. It seemed a bit over-eager, but the thought process was actually not a bad one. If you kill Falstad there, that's a pretty good move for you.
Muradin and ETC towards the boss pit while everybody else does other things. Look at this. This is brilliant. Let's just watch from
Zero Panda is actually a team that really likes to go for these isolated kills. When I was watching scrims between the two teams, you could really tell that they are looking for those the entire game, especially when level 20 happens and you happen to have a hero with Bolt of the Storm on your team. They just collapse on any target, turn it into 5 versus 4, and then aggressively push the advantage. This is their playstyle. And Fnatic, they know that by now. That's why they're playing so passive here at times.
Oh, they... Run away. He's fine, don't worry.
It's actually interesting to me how that game started to turn a little bit. It's now Zero Panda that's really looking to engage, whereas Fnatic is saying, wait for 20, wait for 20, wait for 20.
Yeah, true, true. Well, they're moving in. This is...
That's
bad for Fnatic. They've got to be super careful about how they're moving right now. Zero Panda is closing in on them like a grass snake. And they've got to be very, very careful here.
They are in a really bad spot. They're all the way at the down to the bottom. There's no escape there. They're trying to get decent position again. Quagnix, he has gassed up. He could use it. Already Avatar on Breeze. Breeze attacked. Still, they're going for it. Smexy with a heal, dropping the Ancestral. He himself in trouble as Shrimpy teleports over. The Gust comes out and Fnatic finds themselves on the wrong side of the map.
Yeah, there's no retreat from this. They've got to fight somehow, some way. Going on towards ETC. He is silenced. Isolation on ETC. That's a pick up there for Fnatic. Looking for more. Epic flight out there for Quagnix to try and get away. And wowie wow to get out of that situation. Fnatic.
They had to fight into the tranquility. Usually when you see that popped, you move move back, you're trying to disengage to make sure that your opponent can't fight. They get the level 20, and once again, Dehaka, one of the key heroes in that fight, isolating ETC and guaranteeing the kill.
I thought for sure there was only two eventualities out of that fight. Either one team dies or the other team dies, but no, Fnatic proved me wrong. They get that one pick and are able to get... I can't believe they just escaped that position.
You're so right. I mean, like we were talking about, they moved to the left. They were completely oblivious to the fact that they passed two heroes of the opponent. Then they are trapped. They move down to the bottom temple, which is basically just another throw pit. And then you would... I can't believe they escaped this. And they got the kill on ETC. They got level 20, and it guarantees them the objective on top of it.
What great play we're getting here from HGC. This is just fantastic stuff to watch. As Quacknick's now just waiting in the wings with his wings.
Now though, we have Bolt of the Storm on Malfurion, and we have it also for ETC and Sylvanas. There's a lot of escape potential, but in the case of ETC, they are going to try and look for an aggressive engage on an isolated target to get a kill.
Dehaka, it's time to burrow away, my friend. Where's Little Scramble? Okay, he's gone. So now they're moving towards the bottom here. They knew they were rotating up top. Are they going to go? No, they're not going to go boss. They're going to go elsewhere. They're looking to set up a position, making it look like they're on boss. But being found.
Yeah, you found out here. Yeah, you can't mind game the Chinese when it comes to the bush meta.
Nope. Oh, Bone Spear for Zul. Nice.
Yeah, Bone Spear on the side of Zul, and also we have the shield on 20 for Dehaka, not going for the Apex Predator, yeah?
And moving through here very, very aggressively are Zero Panda now. Whoa! Oh, repulsion. You crazy little fiend, you.
You can tell that Fnatic has a lot of respect for Zero Panda.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Whoopee! That might be you dead, my friend, if you're not careful here. Unstoppable. Using the cleanse to try and get him out of that position. He tried to go for the drag, but then was left in the dust behind Zero Panda.
They try to go for the keep, and they are going to barely not get it.
No more Moonfires. No more Moonfires.
One grenade is all you need, and there it is. Tigers is securing it.
Yep. Very well done here by Zero Panda, looking to even up the odds. What a game between these two.
I mean, right, like this game has been going back and forth the entire time. We've seen some great setups for fights, traps all over the place entire game long. We've seen Fawcett fly in for isolated kills. We had Dehaka in the same position. And once again, they're trying to go for Breeze. Mirrodin popping the avatar, and Quacknick's dropping the Gust.
That's a lot enabled there. Bone Prism for good measure, just on towards Breeze. Still there, still hanging around.
There's two cooldowns that they just got.
Yes, it is, and that is for nothing whatsoever. They're basing. They go. Ooh. Okay, so it was just Dehaka, so he can get back in if he wants to. He was just going up towards the top, cleaning that up. They're going to still hang around this boss. Look how long that temple has been active up towards the top, by the way.
Who cares about temples? Like,
yeah, you want to win the video game.
Exactly. It's all about the boss at this point, as you can see. The thing is that if the boss is taken by Zero Panda, it moves straight towards the core of Fnatic.
Yeah. It's basically game over at that point.
Yeah, they really opened up something for themselves here. So at this point, it's all about the boss. They're dodging around it. We have Sylvana still in a position where she can take a few of the camps up at the top. At the same time, Dehaka is trying to deep push the top lane a little bit. He might be the one who actually tries to go to the temple and then burrows in, but they always have to make sure that Zero Panda does not get the boss here.
This stalemate could continue for a while, as we see, oftentimes, Europe doesn't mind playing it a little bit slower, but Zero Panda is looking for opportunities. So they're going to move towards this Bruiser camp.
They are actually looking to see if they can maybe get a snipe against someone up here at the top lane. The Bruiser camp, of course, is another thing that they're trying to get here. You're totally right on that. Fnatic is looking for an opportunity, but they are scared. You can really tell that they're playing incredibly passive. They are waiting and waiting and waiting. This is really just both teams looking for an opportunity. One chance, a single opportunity to take a hero down and engage properly into a fight.
And because of that movement up towards the Bruiser camp, that then opens up an easy access to the temple there for a moment for Zero Panda. But this is going to be a boss run. They're going to go for this, realizing that the temple was taken instantly. Fnatic moves towards this boss, trying to control it.
Stage dive. ETC has his stage dive ready. Boss is being attacked.
They don't
Zero Panda at the left, they're starting to move in. Whoopi is there. Whoopi is there.
He needs to
Here
go.
comes the boss. Stage dive is not not used yet. Boss is taken. Fnatic has the boss, and they are moving back.
They didn't realize, they didn't scout it out fast enough. They were so cautious about all the bushes because of all the setup throughout this game that it was very difficult for them to ever go past 3 bushes that were on that perimeter.
Top lane is being attacked right now. We have a camp at the top lane, and Whoopi is the only one who went back. The rest of the team is already going in. What he wants to do is he tries to shut down the catapults here so that the core is not being attacked. Reese at the front line right now. They're attempting to go at least through the keep, ideally more. Already, we are seeing Li Ming trying to make plays here, but not getting a grasp on ETC.
Dahaka's on his way as well here, using that push to get in as quickly as possible. This boss is quite low though. Don't think they're going to be able to try and go for more unless they get a pick. Whoopi is positioning himself, trying to get a grab on towards end. Doesn't quite find it. Hasn't gone for it just yet. Not on cooldown, so could find it again. But Fnatic is just going to back off. They got a keep. They're okay with that to try and even things up for now.
Moonfire on Breeze to unhorse him here, but so far of no consequence. ETC, all right, not moving anymore, not looking for another slide there. But this game is so tense right now.
Yeah, they're just slow and steady here. Might not win the race though! Quacknix! Oh, disaster losing! Not only Quacknix going down, not only one member, but also a defensive position for a Gust.
And it's exactly what we talked about earlier. It's that blink on ETC, jumping in and getting that kill, locking down Falstad, and now they aim for the top. They want to have at least a keep here. Right now, Fnatic trying to defend. They know that they cannot lose another hero, or they will fall.
Li Ming is still a very, very powerful defensive tool that they have available to them. Zero Panda is going to take this and walk away. Look at the patience. It is one keep, then a few minutes, then another keep, then a few minutes, then another keep.
And we have 2 temples coming up in 10 seconds. They need to contest here. Fnatic is under pressure. It's another 20 seconds until Falstad is back. This is a pretty rough time for them right now.
They can't just walk like this, Fnatic. I mean, yeah, okay, it's a Meriton, but they still don't have Falstad available here to them. It's quite risky to walk like that.
They can't eat the shots though. They can't. ETC will soon jump in. They need to wait for Falstad, and of course that's also apparent to Zero Panda. But the keep in the mid lane is already about to fall, and then it's only about the core.
They've got to take the fight somehow, some way. Wait, where is Zero Panda going? They're wrapping around from every single angle.
Up at the top lane together with Falstad, but he's back.
They're going core. 4 of them are going core here. Look at the positioning. 2 of them wrapped around the back, 2 of them wrapped around the bottom, and that is the stage dive in as well. Oh, and Zero Panda just going straight for it here. Do they have Gust available?
Falstad! Gust comes in, he pushes them back. They're still going for the core. It's down to 50%, James.
A lot of damage going on towards Zero Panda here, but I think they might be able to get it. But they're actually not focusing there for a moment. They just need to right-click this core, get this kill off as quickly as possible. Malfurion, nice block. Zero Panda should have this. It's going to be so close.
No! Fnatic, they defend, and that's 1% on the core. What is happening here?
I can't believe it.
The Fnatic 1%, what's going on?
Unbelievable. What?
Like, what?
The way in which every single patient move has been taken in this game to end on 1% core. Fnatic triumphantly jump towards this core. They are going to finish it off, and they are going to take the victory here over Zero Panda Kaldor.
Unbelievable. They take it. They defend. They focus Sylvanas down, who was the biggest threat there. And then they drop ETC and Malfurion. It is game. GG. Fnatic wins with 2-0 against Zero Panda and moves on to the winner's match.
Unbelievable. It's not my fault.
By far, the most tense match we have seen here in the Fall Championship so far. The level of respect that both of the teams were giving each other, the way the map was played, going for that core dive. The call was brilliant.
The call was brilliant. That was
awesome.
My favorite game of all of opening week so far. The plays.
You could say
I
that
can't wait to talk about the replay that I picked. I know that you want the 1% core, but I want to shout out Fnatic so much with this play. But man, these guys played fantastically. Like you said, the respect between the two teams.
The core call, it was so good.
The drill, the haunting wave over the wall, stage dive in, How do you always get 1% cores? That's what I want to know, Claire.
It's not my fault.
I mean, in that last moment, we do really need to highlight Schwimpy on getting that kill on Sylvanas. If Sylvanas was left alone, I believe every single hit of the mirror ball connected on Sylv, and she just went from 80 to 0 basically in an instant. But wow.
I'm speechless. This is insane. That ending.
Yeah.
The game had everything.
Let's just jump right on into the replays, Gilly, because I think we're all still trying to take it in.
I love this replay so much because this is the part where Fnatic are in the worst spot, down in the bottom lane, and they get pushed into Zero's base, and things look terrible. Schwimpy has already teleported out just further towards Zero Panda's base, right? And I only picked one replay because I really just want to talk about the teamwork from Fnatic here was incredible. They are going to start to run up. As they do, there's the gust that comes out. And then as we run up to, there's going to be the stage dive that comes in. And here you'll see what's going to jump down. Everything is used perfectly. The communication on point from Fnatic to keep Wubby alive. And eventually Quacknix is going to get on the death bridge, which seems like the horrible place to be, but he has fly and he flies out because they hit 20. And that means so much. He has epic mount, he can fly out fast. Wubby ends up having, I'm just gonna clear it out and we're just gonna run it through. He ends up having hardened shield too. So he goes in, he ends up pulling ETC in, and this is crucial that they can get that kill. Dragging in, they use isolation to drag in ETC, and that's the one kill. Now Wubby has been hit by Bone Prison at this point, goes into Burrow, times it out. After he comes out of Burrow, he has hardened shield. All of these things allowed to keep alive. And Smexy's already used Cleanse too in the help from that. Schwimpy's out of there. Quacknix has made it out. Wubby uses Hardened Shield. They all make it out of this ridiculously terrible spot. And that is some of the greatest teamwork I think I have ever seen. It was so beautiful. Even if Zero would have won that game, I had to show that because, guys, this was incredible, the timing of abilities.
Well, I mean, a lot of the murmur this morning was Dahaka. Where does he sit? He hasn't seen the best results, but in that game alone, we saw Dahaka get the pull off the boss pit right in the opening, and then that other drag right there pulling him away from the Tranquility. That was absolutely essential.
Oh yeah, I had that too. The drag away from the Tranquility off the boss point, but I was just like, oh no, we got to dive into that escape because that escape was I can't believe what was running through Fnatic's mind.
Well, guys, we actually do have our esports correspondent, Anna Prosser-Robinson, with a very special interview. Take it away.
Thank you, Jake. I'm here with Quacknix. Quacknix, I was sitting there like my hands on my head, my mouth open, just shocked at the end of that game. The casters have mentioned multiple times they just don't even know what to say in this moment. How are you and your team feeling in this moment?
I mean, we're obviously super happy that we pulled it off because, yeah, we just won a lot of money as well as, yeah, like, securing that we get we have one more life. But I don't know, that game was insane. Like we let them have way too much map control, and then like in the end it was super hectic because I said I want everybody to come here because I'm gonna grab vision, and then the moment I realized my team were not coming, I said they will blink stun me, and then I hesitated instead of just getting out. It happened, what I called would happen, I die, but then we pull up some miracle rescue on the core and just go core.
I mean, there was that moment where, as Gilly was just saying in the replay, there was such bad positioning for you, and she was wondering what's going on in their mind. There were so many things that happened there. Dehaka was a huge player. What can Heroes fans at home learn from what you guys did to get out of that situation?
Since we were so close to 20, like there was just one thing going on in my mind. First of all, we need Dehaka there because we might have to take the fight, even though like we're 19 versus 19 and we're looking for 20. We might have to take the fight. So Dehaka comes instantly. We try to kite. And the moment I saw how they were positioning themselves, I just said, we go left, I gust them, we take another wave, we get 20, and we fight.
And it worked.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it worked, so.
All right, well, I wanted to ask you about kind of your mentality, because the casters have mentioned that perhaps in the past there's been some over-aggression or maybe some fights that you maybe shouldn't have taken, but this was a team that was slow and confident and calm, and you, especially in that last game, let a lot of time go by until just the right moment to strike. Tell us about the character of your team and how you're evolving.
Yeah, I mean, that's a problem that goes both ways. Like sometimes we are becoming too passive when we should be too aggressive. And sometimes, like when you don't have map control and stuff like that, you just have to like give everything up and just wait for them to make a mistake, or just show on maps, and then you can move back on the map to get control. But yeah, it's good that we have like, yeah, when we are aggressive, we're staying aggressive, and when we have to be passive, we're actually being passive enough now and just waiting for them to make a mistake.
Well, one of the things that unfortunately the people at home miss out on when they're not here in the studio is getting to hear you guys celebrate, and you were screaming and pounding on desks. Give us a little window for people who couldn't hear you to what you were saying to each other and what was going on at that final moment.
I mean, as we're defending core, it's all about the focus, obviously. But the second we realize we killed them, like everybody is super nervous still and like, what do we do? What do we do? And they're like, okay, as long as a catapult doesn't reach our core, we just win the game. So then everybody, like, as soon as we're starting moving out, everybody's realizing we just won the game, and then everybody is starting screaming and super hyped. It's amazing.
Well, thank you for one of the most incredible moments so far in the Fall Championship. That 1% core was absolutely amazing. We'll get you some more amazing moments in Heroes of the Storm right after this.
The Heroes of the Storm Fall Championship is sponsored in part by Intel, T-Mobile, NVIDIA, and Republic of Gamers.
Heroes of the Storm. Prepare for Heroes Brawl, the new game mode that breaks all the rules. Rated T for teen.
Heroes of the Storm. Play free and experience the new StarCraft-themed battlegrounds. Rated T for teen.
Peace. It has been my life's work. Through honesty and diplomacy, there is no obstacle. There is no obstacle we can't overcome. Within each of our hearts lies a yearning for peace. Even in this odd place, I truly believe that each of us can find a way to live in harmony. As I was saying, I am Jaina Proudmoore. We don't need to fight, but if you insist, so be it.
Heroes of the Storm. Play free and experience the new StarCraft-themed battlegrounds. Rated T for teen.
The Heroes of the Storm Fall Championship is sponsored in part by Intel, T-Mobile, NVIDIA, and Republic of Gamers.
Denial, 행운은 빌지만
I feel like they might play a little scared against us.
너네는 날 죽일 수 없어.
I know they respect some of our players for sure, so they're going to bring their A game.
디나이엘이 이길 가능성은 10%도 안 되는 것 같아요.
If we don't make the mistakes that we made in the set against MVP, we're all talented players. We can definitely beat them.
디나이엘 첫 번째 경기부터 패자조로 떨어지셔서 좀 힘든 여정이 될 것 같아요. 축하드립니다.
Ballistix better come out with their A-tier draft because if they don't, we're going to stomp them.
디나이엘 우리가 먼저 승자조로 진출해서 빨리 진출할 테니까 천천히 올라오도록 해.
Indeed, that is Ballistix going up against Denial Esports in just moments' time. My heart is still racing from what we've witnessed here so far today. But of course, you can see that these two teams are fired up and ready to go. Especially Ballistix, it seems, who have some confidence about them going forwards.
We saw confidence out of MVP Black. We've seen confidence out of Ballistix. The results have spoken for themselves so far. I think this series is really reminiscent of DK versus Cloud9 last year. Sure. And we've got the winner from Korea, the actual winner of the OGN League, going up against a strong North American team. And I think that storyline is going to kind of come here. Can Denial do what Cloud9 did last year?
I mean, it's not only reminiscent. There are players from both of these teams on the same team. So that's kind of crazy to think about when we go into this first game, Grubby.
I'm just still thinking of how crazy it is, how brutal Ballistix is there with their pre-game commentary and their estimation of how the game is going to go. I mean, I think their confidence is well placed because they are an extremely powerful team. I do agree that on paper, Denial has less than 10% chance to win, but to come out and say it, put so much pressure on yourself, you're going to look so apish if you go down here that it is a really big risk to take. So let's see if they can live up to that.
Denial has a tendency to make drafts weird and make the other teams uncomfortable. It's not very far from the characteristic of some of the things that we saw last year. Will we see anything reminiscent? I am expecting something weird. Just how weird we're going to get is going to be the question.
How close do we get to murky here?
Probably far less than 10%.
Now, for those that don't know the reference, just real fast back to BlizzCon 2015, where the American hopeful, Cloud9, one of the American hopefuls, actually used Murky, a very little used character, to defeat MVP Black in that match.
Of course, there is our lovely little fishy friend. It's Murky. Killed about 100,000 of these in World of Warcraft. But
actually, you're the reason he is in Heroes of the Storm. If you see that intro video, he's like, all the World of Warcraft raiders, they killed my family. I'm baby Murky. I'm coming with a vengeance here.
I'm apparently to blame for everything, Grubby, at this point.
But you're also to be blamed for Cloud9's victory, so good job.
Yeah, well, thank you very much.
That. Yeah.
I do what I can. I do what I can. Of course, that is Murky. But let's talk about Denial Esports a little bit further, kind of in depth here now. They've come out of the North American region as the second seed here. Are you expecting some big plays from them? What are we thinking?
I think the one thing that a lot of people need to take note of is the fact that at the first regional, they looked bad. But they also had a hero or a player that they replaced, and they brought iDream back, one of the former defending BlizzCon champions. And I think that was kind of their key. And they weren't together but for about 3 weeks until they played at PAX in Seattle just 4 weeks after the original regional. So we saw drastic amounts of improvement. We see Glaurung seem to be coming into his own and his. So I think the formation of this roster and then that replacement for a player of iDream's caliber, a top-tier player, for several years now in Heroes, I think that's kind of the thing that we expect from this team. It's a matter of, has it been enough time for them to bring back the magic of last year?
Yeah, I think this team is, in my opinion, a much stronger team from North America. Sometimes when you look at just a regional alone and you look who wins that, for example, Ballistix beating MVP Black or, Tempest beating MVP Black at the summer finals, people think, oh, just because of this one series, this team is clearly the better team. They were the better team at that exact moment, at that time. Murloc Geniuses did win a North American Regional, but I think right now with this new roster for Denial, how well they've been practicing recently, I think they're the stronger team personally.
Well, of course, on the other side, we have the team from the Korean region, and they have claimed the crown in Korea as of late. It is Team Ballistix, previously L5 if you watched them in Super League. Wolf, I know you've got a lot to talk about when it comes to Ballistix.
I think this team really has grown up a lot. I think they like Tempest. You can draw a lot of parallels there. Started off a little bit weaker at the beginning of the season. You've got this newer roster. They come in. They look solid on paper. How well are they going to perform? They don't do that well at the beginning of the tournament, but they finish strong. I think a lot of their success in that best-of-7 grand finals was due to the fact that MVP Black was locking them out of scrims. Miracle was locking them out of scrims, and MVP Black was scrimming only exclusively with MVP Miracle, and I think that hurt them a lot in this new sudden meta because the game was played, or the series was played, on a very new patch. It was the first professional games played on that patch, so I think that MVP Black kind of shot themselves in the foot in that one.
Do you have any thoughts about Ballistix, Grubby?
I think Ballistix is insane, magical almost on their shot calling.
Right.
Like the kind of ways to victory that they see sometimes is just out of this world. Like think of like Medivh play where they go past the gate, just tickle, keep down, and then go to the core. It's like no one else will see that opportunity. And I think MVP Black may be slightly better mechanically, but the general teamwork of Ballistix has been super top tier.
All right, well, we can head into the draft here for game number 1. Of course, between these two teams, it will be Cursed Hollow for Ballistix versus Denial Esports. Let's jump right into the draft with a Zarya ban to start things off on the side of Ballistix.
We're seeing a ton of Zarya bans from Ballistix right now. When you look at how they've been practicing, how they've been preparing, this is something that we've seen a lot. And it's pretty normal to see. We see the ETC ban coming out first here from Denial. Want to take that away. This will allow Ballistix to probably just snatch Muradin up right away, and there they do. Noblesse known to be one of the best Muradins. Now, the rivalry between Noblesse and King Caffeine on this iconic hero for both players here is really cool. Illidan locked in right away with Abathur. This is something we've seen in Korea on this map a lot, and now Denial is going to bust it out themselves.
I told you things might get a little weird, and this actually fits right into what Denial likes to do. Guys, just a few weeks ago, I mean, they're running Abathur builds that aren't necessarily the norm. And look at this, Ballistix instantly locking in Leeming and Brightwing, two other powerful heroes on this map.
Wow, that took them nary a second to actually make that decision. Absolutely immediate call there. Oh, boom, Leeming, Brightwing.
I mean, of course, we're seeing a lot of Brightwing against Illidan. It's almost a given, but we're actually seeing quite a bit of Leeming against Illidan as well recently. The blow potential on Illidan, if you get it, he dies.
The magic damage is the best route to Illidan's heart, as he has evasion to strike down all other advances.
If Leoric comes out here, that sounds crazy. I would not be surprised.
For which team?
For Denial.
No. That would be kind of Cloud9-like.
It would be exactly.
I'm kind of hesitant to put too much of another team's identity and label on them because they're very much their own team. It's been a long time. 1 year ago is ages in esports history.
That's true.
But if we do see something like Leoric coming out or Murky, it's going to be full map control style. Now, unfortunately for Denial, they don't have Brightwing, which would have been great for that. Another one would be Tassadar. They're going to remove Sylvanas.
Moving Sylvanas here. I want to bring up as well that Brightwing by Soy, when Soy is on Brightwing, I think personally he's the best Brightwing player in the world. He was one of the players who was using Brightwing first when she was coming back to the top tier in the meta in the new patch when the mount speed was changed and Global Heroes got a large boost as a result. Tyrael ban comes out. This is very Korean to do because it's going to stop Illidan from having invulnerability with Abathur. We've seen this for team fighting in Asia quite a bit, and this is kind of the Asian mentality.
I'll tell you this right now, not that King Caffeine can't play the hero, but they just don't. Like, it's been few and far between that they've ever run Tyrael, and maybe it's something they've practiced, maybe somebody's picked up on something, but I almost wonder if confidence in terms of Ballistix might be a little bit of arrogance, excuse me for saying that, but their comments warranted that. But
the thing is, right, how would Ballistix know that? Like, maybe, like how do they know about the scrims? They could have, like, practiced it for weeks.
King Caffeine's been around a long time. He barely ever plays Tyrael. Not that he can't, but just they don't.
My take on this is, I know Minu, the coach of Ballistix, does a lot of research, watches a lot of film.
Right.
But I think the take on this is just a stylistic Korean choice. I kind of agree with Jaeho on this. This is just simply them saying, they're not banning against a team, they're just banning against the meta, what they think is smart, what they think they would have picked in this case.
Now we have Chen, okay? Abathur can go onto any one of those targets, whether it's Illidan, whether it's Chen, and they have players. I mean, we can see Glaurung move over to Chen and somebody move over to Illidan. They have such diverse hero pools. That's a thing that oftentimes people forget about Denial, is the fact that they weren't together for very long before they reformed. They kind of got their roster together. We saw drastic improvements from them, and then they have this unique play style that just other teams don't have, and they can really bring it to you. And again, Ballistix is obviously the clear-cut favorite, but the confidence on the side of Denial and their draft style gives them an advantage that other teams don't have. Going
for Rehgar here, Grubby, isn't that like a little telling of potentially something might be in store at the last pick? They could have. Did they really need that healer here?
Yeah, you're right. Rehgar was not needed. He would not be counterpicked. He would not be counterbanned. So it is definitely hiding your final pick of the damage until the last moment. I think that's okay, unless you think you're going to be fighting over the same one. But their draft is so vastly different that it's very unlikely that Denial and Ballistix would want the same ranged assassin.
I think the Tychus pickup here is pretty obvious. He's one of the best heroes against Chen. He's very meta right now. He's one of the most highly picked heroes in this tournament. Arthas. Now, a lot of people might be surprised by this, but in Korea, Arthas is considered to be one of the counters to Illidan, one of the counters to Tyrael.
SCSC has a pretty mean Arthas there. He used to be 8-0, I remember, at some point in the Korean League with Arthas. And we're gonna have Leoric.
There it is.
Here we go. Throwbacks galore here.
This is what they do. This is their comfort zone. For every other team in this tournament, this is not normal, and you will not see this from any other team. But for this team, it works. It's not like they're bringing out cheese comp. This is actually normal for them, and it works.
On this map.
On this map in particular, yes.
Right, yeah. Okay, so first of all, they have a very hard walnut to crack. Denial Esports don't have a ranged assassin, so there's not a lot of reset potential on like easy targets. Okay, full melee team. It's very map control oriented. Yep. And if we get to level 20, which I'm not sure you will against Ballistix, but the idea is if you do, Hive Mind on Abathur is going to be god tier on these frontliners of Illidan, Chen, and Leoric. It's going to do so much damage.
There's no poke whatsoever for Denial Esports, so tribute control is going to be very difficult, and I'm a little bit worried about Denial's composition, honestly. If Ballistix zones correctly using Noblesse, who I think is the best zoning hero, he's the best at zoning heroes in the world. If he zones correctly, we see poke coming out from grenades, arcane flares, missiles coming out. I don't see Denial Esports getting tributes almost ever.
Okay, all right. I'm fully with you, Wolf. I think that's pinpoint accuracy on the strategy and the meta for this Battleground in particular. But what we saw recently out of Denial, it was 3.5 minutes in, they threw Illidan on a boss. They don't play tributes the same way other teams are doing it. They will prioritize camps. They will force rotations out of you. This is, again, I still favor Ballistix heavily, but I think Denial's got a chance.
All right, well, let's take a look at, for all in all, at how these two teams are going to match up with one another, considering these makeups. For Denial, it feels like you dive in, you win that fight, or you are not coming out, right?
Yeah, you're all in.
You either take the plunge or you don't. As you said, Wolf, there is no poke whatsoever, really, besides like stab, needle spine at level 7, I guess. It's like 20% more. Basically,
wait
you go
till
in
you
or
see
you
the
don't.
Abathur build.
Look for them to like give up a bunch of tributes, try to get some map control advantage. We need to be very tight on Denial here with the mistakes. They can't make a lot. They can't get picked off in lane. Otherwise, their composition will never take off.
It has to be flawless. I agree.
They only have Illidan for, sorry, they only have Rehgar for Illidan. They have a solo supporter. Yes, Abathur can do a little bit for
Enough
you.
to share
It's
from
just,
Chen.
I mean, it could happen, right? But like, I really don't think Illidan is going to be able to carry these fights. Even though Glaurung is an incredible Illidan player, he doesn't have any support here. He doesn't have anybody who's going to be able to help him. I don't think Denial has a big shot at taking this first game, just looking at the drafts alone, to be totally frank with you guys.
All right, guys. Well, we are ready for game number 1 here for Ballistix going up against Denial Esports. Let's get into it. Korea versus North America once again. Grubby and Jay-How, take it away.
All right, Grubby, Denial versus Ballistix. A modern-day David and Goliath to some people, but Denial, we're going to see how well they play. But on the left here, we have Ballistix on the blue side. Jiangha gonna be on Arthas, Nacho Jin on Li Ming, Noblesse on Muradin, SC on Tychus, and Swoy gonna be on Brightwing.
And on the right side, the challengers, Denial Esports in the red. We've got APM playing on Rhaegar, Glaurung on Illidan, iDream on Chen, K1 Pro on Abathur, and King Caffeine on Leoric.
All right, well, we already see the rotation up to the top. Again, they're going to make this an unconventional style. While Ballistix is the heavy favorite, look for Denial to at least give them something to think about. When I got to see Ballistix not too long ago, especially when we first got here, they punish teams for doing stuff just like this. So we'll see how the early advantage goes.
All right, first tower is going to get taken out by Denial Esports, almost at least. Elusive Brawler and the tanking by Chen. Illidan getting some free damage. What was the counter response in the bottom? Ballistix gets even value for their rotation. Also, 70% damage on that tower, and now people are starting to rotate differently. Now look at what Denial is doing. They're making sure that they don't feel like they're a body down. They're leaving Abathur to do top soak, bottom soak, and we have a huge over-concentration of heroes going around the map by Denial Esports, traveling around as 3 or even 4. They'll give up some XP in the various lanes, even some siege damage, but what they're looking for is some pickoffs here.
The biggest threat I think that we talked about, especially that Wolf mentioned, was that they have no poke. So when it comes to those tributes, you oftentimes see to try and get some value out of Abathur. We'll see exactly their approach as that's going to be in the next minute or so. But right now, we see heavy aggression by both teams, Grumpy.
Yeah, actually, hold that thought. We see this big 3v3 going on here. APM goes down.
Yeah, the rotation simply was there, and there was nothing that they could do about it. And something we've been seeing throughout the day, Grubby, this level 1 talent for Muradin. Very unconventional, but something we've seen a lot of against these double tank strategies.
Gives you a lot of staying power. In addition to doing a little bit of extra damage on your Stormbolt, you're reducing the mana cost of that Stormbolt, so you don't need to back as often. Pretty useful, and we see it coming out, especially on confident Muradins.
Grubby, I mean, we talked about what Ballistix likes to do if you try and run something weird against them or you try and put this odd pressure in the lanes. I'm looking at the experience. Denial's already a level down.
Yeah, make no mistakes. Ballistix is taking a huge lead here as they are probably looking at Denial and they're not really worried. They're thinking like, why are they giving up so much XP in the lane?
It's tough, but level 4 has been picked up by Denial. But you see kind of the trade of the Siege Camp. If RNG is on your side, that tribute will spawn clear on the opposite side of your Siege Giants. We're approaching that time for our first tribute. We'll see here in just a moment.
Yeah, so what Denial Esports wants here is that the tribute will be announced in the north location, whereas Ballistix would love it in the south. That makes it harder to make a choice between defending Siege Camp and contesting that tribute. Now, Ballistix, they do have more time buying mechanics. Let's see where it's going to go. It's going to go at the bottom. That's a win for Ballistix, and that's going to be some pretty tough luck for Denial.
Yeah, Glaurung up here, as you can see, in the top. And as we see the level 4 talent for Abathur granting that attack speed, I was like, man, is he swinging quick. Yeah. And you can see they're looking to apply some damage. They don't have the burst damage potential on the side of Denial, so they're going to have to try and make up for it in other ways.
Now, what we're going to see here is Illidan try to do as much siege damage as he can at the top. There's nothing really here to stop them, but hold that thought. Ballistix is aware of this kind of threat, and Glaurung, he doesn't have any sweeping strikes available. They're going to go down. APM and Glaurung will get mercilessly swatted down by Ballistix, who will have none of this shenanigans so far.
Grubby, it seems like they're a little bit over-aggressive with their positioning, and they're not necessarily wondering where the rotations are coming from. I mean, that's twice now they've been punished for pushing in on just 4 walls.
It's true, but it's like, it's the theoretical response. You cannot stop the tribute at the bottom, so instead you apply split map pressure with your Illidan in the most far-away location. We saw this coming out yesterday by Team E-Star against Fnatic on Infernal Shrines, just sending Illidan at level 7, 8, at level 9 to take out forts by himself. But Ballistix, they're predicting this kind of thing. They're already sending members up top, knowing that the tribute is going to be a piece of cake.
Well, I love the fact that that was actually Swoy trying to sniff out to see if Illidan might have started that boss. It seemed like they were just kind of rotating around each other. But as you said, with Abathur and without that poke, it's really hard to contest these tributes. That's 2 tributes to 0. Full level lead, Grubby. The next one could be getting close to 10, and things could spiral out of control very quickly.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying the way that Ballistix is playing this one. They are so fluent. They're not getting thrown off at all by this kind of weird comp. Keep in mind, of course, that Abathur compositions do thrive at level 16, at level 20.
You gotta make it there first.
Yeah, you gotta make it there first. On a funny note, we do see Needlespine coming out from Abathur at level 7, so he does get that 20% bonus range on the stab, which will be able to symbiote on a hero and then cancel a tribute in that way. But even at that moment, you're still in the danger zone.
A very offensive style Abathur in terms of being able to support the team fight in. And there is APM and Glaurung going over, but a little bit of a rotation. We see Caffeine trying to interrupt. They're easily sniffing out the boss. They know with those bottom 2 tributes at the bottom, the next one is definitely going to be at the top.
You see that cool move where a Noblesse started to check out the boss, since that could be like an Illidan Abathur boss attempt. Had that been the case, then definitely that would have been a creep jack by Ballistix, and they would be able to steal the boss and kill some heroes. But we saw a smaller investment being made by Denial. They just went for the Bruiser Camp. To be honest, this is like the best that Denial could have done, get that Bruiser Camp. And now they get cursed, and this was a long time in the making.
Well, we do see King Caffeine. He's going to go ahead and Wraith Walk out of there. He stays alive, but the amount of pressure now that level 10 has been picked up, plus the curse, basically uncontested. You would think that they would try and have some type of advantage, but Ballistix seems to have all the answers so far.
Nacho Chin is getting attacked a little bit there by Illidan, but of course he has his fort defenses. He's not under too much of a big threat.
Noblesse. A drain life. They're a little bit threatening, but they're going to be able to walk right past it because they are fighting underneath that fort. And because they have the curse, not taking any shots. The opposite effect here. Nacho Jin trying to get out of there. The face shift, or excuse me, the face shift coming in as Soy for the support. They're going to continue to chase down iDream. Is he going to be able to make it out alive? Glaurung trying to go in. Friend or foe diving back. And you can see, trying to get the splash damage off of the wall. Glaurung doing everything he can.
Wow.
He does have the... Oh my goodness.
He actually went back in there. Ouch, ouch, ouch. He actually had a clear way to get out of this situation. I don't know exactly why he came back in, but he paid for it with his life. Unstable anomaly, polymorph, bam, and then the calamity from Li Ming. And now we get to this awkward situation where at 6 minutes 30 you lose a keep. Like, Ballistix is pushing in on every front.
They have every answer so far. Level 10 was picked up, at least in the meantime, but Grubby, you got to worry. Talk to me about this, because if you give up all 3 tributes and you don't have anywhere near the experience advantage and you pick up level 10 right around the time of the curse, I mean, spiraling out of control, is there any chance you come back from that type of mistake?
I mean, the chances are dwindling to almost nothing here, J.O. And I mean, we always knew that Ballistix was going to be a very tall mountain to climb. And we have this unconventional draft here. And we got a little bit excited. Like, what if this works? But so far, Denial is getting outclassed. They're trying to get the boss here. Noblesse is coming in with that zoning. Level 13 is very close.
Noblesse is there in the front. Avatar has been popped. K1 Pro there on the clone, trying to get into damage as we see the Ancestral already out, but they are focusing all their attention on the Glaurung, including that drill, forcing him back. But on the backside, Noblesse going in, lands the Stormbolt, and at the same time, Leoric goes down, Illidan goes down, and Ballistix are just manhandling Denial.
Hero slain, hero slain, hero slain. I keep hearing the announcer go ham, and Ballistix is not letting up. What coordination. They're getting the most out of this. Maybe another lesser team would have got 1, 2 takedowns, maybe go for the boss immediately, get distracted. But we see a huge amount of min-maxing coming down here for Ballistix. 7 versus 0 takedowns. They're getting the boss, and they're going to get some options here. They can go and push the top keep. They can go and get the other the other boss at the bottom.
I know King Caffeine has Wraith Walk there, but he is playing with fire despite the fact that he's on Leoric. That boss was picked up, and Grubby, as you said, it's like they can do whatever they want. Can Ballistix? I mean, we see Wandering Keg, the choice for Chen, but the fact that they didn't get the boss taken down, there was no available option for him to use that to try to capture that boss.
Ballistix is playing it safe. They're going to be going for this other boss, and I'm just going to take a look at the bottom keep. The wall is still completely intact, so probably the expected value of this boss is 1, the tribute, which is in a fantastic location for Ballistix, and 2, the wall. This is probably the median result. Now, Ballistix, they have a number of options where they can go. There aren't too many objectives on the side of the map for Denial yet, but the Bruiser is coming up in 2 seconds. That could be a pretty cool ambush place where Ballistix heads to, pretend to escort the boss, and then go for like an alternative location. Possible.
Well, it's 7 kills to 0 so far, Grevin. It seems like, oh, nice little juke there with a blink kill. But this is one of those moments where you have to start questioning, like, what possibly can Denial do right now? As we see King Caffeine, he's going to go ahead and hearth back. Is that bottom keep is now being threatened by the boss.
I mean, honestly, I think the chance to take control of the fate for Denial is gone. They can just try to make as few mistakes as possible and hope that Ballistix makes a few big ones. This is a best of 3. We're looking at the first game here. It's the first game that these teams are playing in this group. And here is a chance maybe for Denial to turn something around.
Yeah, they use the tomb and trying to isolate them, and we see Glaurung, he just cannot get in without being targeted. There's a stun, and is that going to be... Oh, that was the clone that does go down the boss. It looks like this is going to be a second successful keep. Noblesse going in the back, and there's the cleanse onto Caffeine, but he does go down as Nacho Jin comes in with the Calamity, and now they are all over the core. Down comes the drill, and Grubby, I think this is the beginning of the end.
Oh man, JL, another team might back off, but they're going for the kill here. Now, typically, they will try to take down another hero before they go fully for the core. However, the Ancestral Healing does hit.
It does. Wandering Craig used it as well, but they see the iDream over there on the side. He does get taken down, and now down goes the core. The drill is continuing to put the pressure on, and game number 1, Ballistix completely manhandled Denial in an absolute it was a perfect execution from beginning to end of that game.
Exactly. Impeccable gameplay here by Ballistix in every shape, in every form. It did not look hard. They did not mess around. They did not clown around. It's a 9 versus 0 takedowns, 3-level lead, 10 minutes and 33 seconds game. Incredible play by Ballistix, and they made Denial Esports look weak here. I know we tried to tiptoe around this, but Denial Esports, they're a pretty good team. Ballistix, super world tier.
What to expect from one of the best teams in the world, if not the best team in the world currently after claiming their position in Korea. Also, a big welcome to our StarCraft and Hearthstone brothers tuning in as well. Wolf, that was domination.
It was. I mean, I could see what they were trying to do there. They were trying to do what we've seen a little bit in China already, the top push with Ild and trying to get value there. But it looks like Korea just had their number, shut it down every time. We saw a lot of great ganks by Swoy, teleporting in, going for these polymorphs. There were a few missed team fights in the bottom for Denial as well. But really what I want to show you guys when we jump into replay here is just that last boss fight. So I'm going to run this really slow. You see King Caffeine actually drops down. Let's pause it right here. King Caffeine drops down this huge wall right here, but unfortunately it's not enough to save his team. It zones out a lot of the damage, but notice when Glaurung decides to go in, he's coming up right now, jumps in on top of Noblesse, then he's going to go ahead and Metamorphosis on top of 3, but notice immediately the Polymorph goes down and they target him down with everything they have. K1 Pro is just ignored, and Ancestral comes up here, but look at the drill blocking him here down. Stuns are going down. He's just not getting any value. K1 Pro still ignored, but Glaurung is targeted so much he can't get any damage done, and from here on out, the fight is already won by Ballistix.
He looked so lost in that fight to Glaurung that it's almost like a drunken haze, where no Shen puns intended, where he's like hitting a drill and he's like, he literally hit, I think, a hero 1 or 2 times during that and then had to escape.
I think that's the story, really, and I'm so glad you showed that again, Wolf. I was thinking, like, if I'm Glaurung in that fight, I would end the game and be like complaining, like, guys, I couldn't get anything done.
Right,
like,
precisely.
He looked so helpless, like not getting any autos off. It was like full chain stun and polymorph.
And he had such a great dive in as well. He got 3-man on his Metamorphosis.
So that's bonus HP, it's bonus damage. He dodged some damage in doing so.
But the CCs were all on him, and he had no cover. He had no extra damage behind him, allowing him to make anything happen. There was no CC back there. There was no poke. It was just, I'm here, but I'm dying. And K1 Pro's like, notice me, please. Somebody notice me. I want to get something done here, but it simply did not happen.
First pick Illidan. It's tough, especially when Brightwing's still on the board. I mean, it's like the ultimate counter. Very rarely do we see a first pick Illidan work really well. There's very few people that can pull that off, especially when Brightwing's on the other side. It's just so tough. As you said, the minute that Metamorphosis went down, they knew their target. You see the image on the ground, and they just went directly on top of it. There was nothing they could do.
And honestly, like, that kind of Metamorphosis is like the value meta to get a lot of HP, but it's also the scared Metamorphosis. The one that you hit just to get good value out of the HP gain that you get from hitting heroes, but it's not the one where you dodge this crucial skill shot, this crucial damage, dodging the Pulse Bomb, dodging the Devouring Maul. So that really leaves you vulnerable for the follow-up cooldowns, which are still available.
Right. It's a tough situation here for Denial Esports going up against one of the best teams in the world. We're going to go to a short break. When we're back, it's game number 2 between Ballistix and Denial Esports.
The Heroes of the Storm Fall Championship is sponsored in part by Intel, T-Mobile, NVIDIA, and Republic of Gamers.
The reviews are in, and the critics agree. Overwatch is a perfect 10.
What are you looking at?
It's time to pick a side.
Overwatch. Play it now on PC and console. Rated T for Teen.
The Heroes of the Storm Fall Championship is sponsored in part by Intel, T-Mobile, NVIDIA, and Republic of Gamers.
After an utter smashing there in game number 1, it's now time for Denial Esports to make some ground back here. As, of course, Ballistix looking utterly fantastic. And we now get into the draft here between these two. It's well underway already here between the two teams. So let's jump in. It's going to be Sky Temple. And we already have our bans and picks started off, guys.
I think the Tychus ban early by Ballistix is perfect. Glaurung, his second most played
Bizarria
hero.
ban?
Pardon?
You said Tychus ban?
Oh, I'm sorry, the Tychus pick by Ballistix. We see a first pick, Muradin, on the side of Denial. They also like to run Chen, especially with that up on the front line, especially if Illidan. But Zeratul is going to be a threat, so Tychus eliminates the threat of that double warrior composition of Muradin and Chen for sure.
I have a question, and with that Brightwind pickup early and the Muradin prioritization, which is normal, okay, are they potentially going to go down the Illidan path later?
I mean, it's possible.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is what the previous draft should have looked like if they wanted to do that.
Right.
But to use the same trick or the
It'll
same...
be more Zeratul than Illidan on this map.
Just the same style twice in a row, I think, like, it gains you very little data, it doesn't really throw off your opponent, and you still feel bad from how little Glaurung could do in that previous game. And I think he plays a better Chen than he plays Illidan.
I'd like to see a Leeming pick. Okay, there it is. Because if you pick either Tassadar or an Illidan here, it can still be countered, right? But if you pick Leeming here, Illidan is still absolutely possible, but it's harder to ban against. Here's a Zeratul ban. So that's more
that
of
makes a lot of sense.
It's a targeted ban, yeah.
But so what does that really leave? I mean, going Illidan will be a little bit tougher. I mean, we saw it countered pretty heavily, although some of those tools are on the side of Denial now. But with Zeratul off the board, Tychus being that double, that warrior kind of killer, Chen not as appealing. Kerrigan is the next most likely hero for Glaurung.
I mean, it's like the non-Sky Temple pick, but maybe Denial feels just funky enough, like different and original
Do you know that
enough.
they ran Nazeebo on this map not too long ago?
Was it next?
Never talk to me again.
It was. They ran double warrior.
It's not your fault.
JL, it's okay. It's okay.
They ran double warrior, double support.
I think that's a
Nazeebo.
dream you had sometimes, JL.
I casted the game. That's right. I casted it.
All right, well, you know, I was wondering if we'll see some Nazebo in this tournament.
Probably not.
If Chen wasn't so powerful right now, this would be an easy target ban on Noblesse to ban Johanna, but I think banning Chen here, especially with the Li Ming pickup, is very, very powerful. Sylvanas is the reason why Zeratul is banned. Whenever you see Koreans ban Zeratul, we know Glaurung is a great Zeratul player, but Sylvanas is here. Now, this is also something where, you know, if you're Ballistix, you might be thinking, ban a Tracer, but this is not something Denial has shown us consistently as a counter. I mean, we've seen it before, but it's not always what we see. Now, it's something to consider here. Absolutely.
So just to reiterate on your point, and tell me if I explain wrong, if you Void Prison as Sylvanas cast Wailing Arrow, she cannot proc it again to explode it where she wants to.
That's one of the reasons, but also just roaming and killing her when she's in the top lane is another powerful thing that Zeratul can do, especially with Brightwing. Zeratul goes up hidden. You don't even think about the Brightwing. Suddenly Zeratul's there with the Brightwing teleported in, and Sylvanas in the top lane suddenly can't get out. She can't use her escape because she's polymorphed.
Okay.
Sylvanas and what I've seen out of Ballistix, you know, you mess up on one rotation, they will rotate all the way across the map, take down half of your front walls, and then you're left wondering what happened from 1 minute in the game.
So
Denial can't make the same mistakes.
How do they stop this? They've got 2 picks, and you know, you don't have infinite time. They've been really eating up into their time pool already.
I think Falstad is the answer here. Falstad is the obvious answer. So much value here.
No.
Oh, they're going to take Tassadar instead.
It looks like Illidan possibly coming in.
Or Tracer.
Or Tracer. There it was. It was one of the two.
This answers the question. Would they? Yes, they will. Now, most regions only ever play Tracer together with Tassadar. I do believe Denial is a bit of an exception, and so apparently is MVP Black. But it is a very powerful pairing.
Surely the Tracer is a better pick here because you have the Sylvanas on the other side. Wailing Arrow would hurt Illidan quite significantly.
Johanna as well. Her blind is going to be very powerful. It's also going to be powerful versus Tracer, for sure.
Both Sylvanas and Tychus can hold their own fairly well against Tracer. Because they're just auto-attack based heroes, they can just do a lot of damage to someone who's close to them, and they don't have a whole lot of skill shots, which Tracer is best against.
Okay, what's the last pick? What would you go as Ballistix here? Jay, any thoughts?
They can really go anything that they want to go. I really think that they might want to consider solidifying that front line. I don't know if it's necessary for what they need to accomplish. I mean, you've got Li Ming, you've got Tracer.
I was going to say, if you're going to go melee here, you want Thrall because he has the ability to root, he has the ability to sunder. Am I mistaken? Is this not the first time we've seen him in this tournament?
I think this is the first time we've seen him here.
So a very niche pick right now in the meta, but I think he's the melee you want in this draft to lock down Tracer. And Ballistix is not as known for playing Olorok as MVP Black is, so I like this choice.
So Thrall tries to hit a wolf on her, probably won't succeed, but what he can do is to sunder Tracer as she jumps away. He has 2 really good heroic abilities, and if sundering didn't exist, Earthquake would be massive. But sundering really is the one to go to. It's a pretty big stun, long range, and can deal a lot of damage. So there we go. 3 heroes.
That was a great sundering.
Typical
right there.
scenario. And basically, when Tracer uses recall, which he can do once every 26 seconds, he really can take her down. So
you can predict where she will recall if you're really paying attention.
And you can see it. There's like a little flare.
Exactly. So Jungha's going to be looking for that, and he can actually time his Spirit Wolf in order to line up with the recall. The same with the sundering. If there's a team fight potential there, it's also very powerful against a squishy like Li Ming and Brightwing. If she's stunned, she can't blink heal away.
My mind exactly went to that image as you made that noise. That was fantastic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. For those that don't know, behind the scenes, Grubby, when he's explaining abilities or things like that, he actually has a sound for everything.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
It's amazing.
I have onomatopoeia.
His Nazebo's great. It's fantastic.
Which you will not hear now because he wasn't picked.
Ah, what a shame.
The Thrall pick, guys. It's just wonderful for this.
I mean, this is very much Korean drafting. I mean, it fits all the standards in every way. And with no file set on the board, if they can deal with Tracer, they're just really not afraid of anything. We're going to see a lot of Nitrogen in the top lane. Watch out for it. Tracer's going to try to punish that. We'll see how successful it is. I think that's really going to be how this game is determined, is kind of based on this top and based on this pressure. Obviously, if a team fight happens, maybe, you know, they just get ahead and Sylvanas gets massive value anyways, but that's going to be something to look for towards the mid to late game if we get there, because last game, obviously, we certainly did not.
All right, gentlemen. Well, I believe the game is good to go here between Ballistix and Denial Esports, so let's get right on into it. It is Sky Temple, it is with Jay Howe, and it is with Grubby.
Grubby, game number 2, Ballistix versus Denial. Do you think we're going to see a lot of what we saw in game number 1?
I mean, we saw a lot of buttocks whopping. I do think we might see that coming out again there, Jho, as Ballistix here arrayed on the left side. Jongha on Thrall, Nacho Chin on Sylvanas, Noblesse on Johanna, SCSE on Tychus once again, and Swoy on Malfurion is ready to bite into this second game here.
And on the right side in red, it's going to be APM on Brightwing, Glaurung going to be the playmaker on Tracer, iDream on Li Ming, K1 Pro on Tassadar, and King Capine on Muradin.
Now, this is a fairly slow composition by Denial Esports, where they try to basically squeeze Ballistix out of the game. They have double support, so the early game kill potential is a little bit less. The obvious synergies here for kills are Muradin with the Stormbolt setup into Li Ming, or a kind of slow trickling down of the opponent's life with Tracer. Now, Ballistix will be careful with isolating their own heroes away. Look at Thrall and Johanna being at the top. They are by far the most survivable by themselves, so a very smart grouping by Ballistix, and they're gonna look to not just counterplay Tracer killing someone, but I think they'll even try to counterplay Tracer getting melees off on people. I think Ballistix is gonna relentlessly punish Tracer even getting anywhere close.
This is standard Ballistix right now. When they have Sylvanas and they see you anywhere on the map, that bottom lane has so much value. It basically is a strategy. They set it up for future moves later. They'll rotate through the map. They get value taking some of that down. They'll prioritize siege camps before that second temple phase, and they force rotations that other teams just aren't aware of. They're in it for the long haul, but there we see a little bit of a gank potential coming out. Zhang Hao trying to survive. He does barely survive as the pulse bomb goes off, but that self-heal did keep him alive.
Yeah, that was really close, and I wonder if, well, I know that if Tracer took Tracer rounds at level 1, that would have been a confirmed kill. Tracer rounds revealing people even when they're behind the gate, so long as you keep attacking. But he went for the melee bullet strike. It's actually called Pulse Strike, getting bonus charge rate on that bomb, on that pulse bomb, every time you melee someone with your second ability. Now, that was as close as Denial came to getting a kill in both games so far.
Well, so far, I mean, think about the teams they've gone up. They've had to go up against Ballistix and MVP Black now, and that's just a very tough task.
Yeah.
But right now, at least, things looking far more even this first few minutes in the game, as we saw Tassadar rotate down to defend against Sylvanas. Everything else on the map virtually identical right now.
Denial Esports, looking back on this tournament, maybe we'll find that they had either a fortunate bracket if they enjoy good practice, or an unfortunate one if they don't enjoy getting really tough opponents in those MVP Black and Ballistix. Probably the two most hyped teams of this tournament, and with good reason. Look at Ballistix starting to take that experience lead already as they got those bottom towers.
Well, this is the part I was talking about. They had Sylvanas, and I know a lot of teams tend to rotate down towards the siege camps. It's nothing new, but the zero hesitation means that that's exactly what they have. They want to be able to press forward on this, and look at the value that they're getting. That second temple phase, Grubby, once you first grab that, you take down the wall, you afford yourself such a huge advantage. This is just strategy from the minute number 1 all the way to now.
Yeah, this is new modern strategy. The old style used to be so passive. You would get the siege giants, let them die for free, go to the bruiser camp, set them up for a split push during the bottom temple phase, which will happen in about a minute or so. But instead, nowadays, you see really good teams like Ballistix. They capture the siege camp and they really babysit them.
Well, we're going to see a little bit of a one-on-one here. In comes APM on Brightwing. He had a little bit of follow-up. You'd see that polymorph, but no true damage there just yet, as both teams tend to rotate up. It's going to be a matter of priority now for those bruiser camps, Grubby.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of time left. Within 30 seconds, the bottom temple will be announced already. We don't really see any team going for that yet. This is what I'm talking about. Like Ballistix, they cleared the way fairly in an advanced location, so they actually don't lose any XP in the middle, and they go for the 4-man here at the bottom. Now, they've accurately analyzed that they're 4v4, and they don't want to give away the advantage, so they actually pull away smartly.
I mean, it's just the minute they rotated to the bottom, Ballistix is just on another level right now. And strategy-wise, as you said, that next temple phase is there. They are going to go ahead and start this top bruiser camp, though.
Okay, it's a little bit late. The bottom temple activates in 5 seconds, and it's very important for Denial to jump on that immediately. Li Ming is on it at the prime time. Okay, so you start getting lasers, and Denial can continue to evaluate whether it's smart for them to stay here. Brightwing, she's still going to be attacking the top bruiser camp. There we go with that Arcane Flare. But this is going to take APM at least 30 seconds to completely clear. So either he has to stay here and they give up the bottom temple, which they are doing now, or they need to go all out. I think both would have been okay. But it looks like Denial is going to play the quote-unquote safe thing.
They definitely have to. They don't have a well to go back to. That fort's about to go down from the temple shots themselves. You can see they are not willing to engage. They're basically going to have to give this up. Unfortunately for them, this is exactly what Ballistix has been priming them to do since this game started.
Yeah, exactly. With that continuous bottom 4-lane pressure, all the way from second one, actually, you're quite right. Getting the towers down, getting that fountain down. And that makes that bottom temple near uncontestable for Denial.
All right, level 10 getting a little bit closer because they were able to afford that temple, a little bit of a V-step coming out there. But because they got that temple and they have that map control, we're now looking at them getting very close to level 10. Do you think that's going to force aggressive rotations, or are they going to continue to just play this game of chess with them?
I think I haven't really seen Ballistix set traps yet. The crucial thing about traps is they take a lot of time and you need to wait till the trap is sprung. If it doesn't get sprung, that's an investment gone awry. And I haven't seen Ballistix do anything inefficient yet, actually. So they will get the level 10, they will take what they believe is theirs, yes. But I think in this case, they're going to not like try to find some jungle gank, they're just going to attack fortifications. And this is what they do.
I like that picture, and picture is they squared off on the vision control there. But level 10 has been picked up, and look at this. Instant aggression the minute they pick that up. Sylvanas is here locking down everything. No real threat. They'll be able to clear this bruiser camp as well, and they can do whatever they want as Denial trying to hit level 10.
You see what Ballistix is doing here is like 0% mind games. All of it is like crucial fundamentals. You get that lead, you attack. It's like, if you do A, then you do B. You got the level 10, the opponent doesn't. You have Sylvanas, so it's go time. As soon as level 10 is close, see Ballistix to pull back, and they will only fight here if Denial overextends. Now, Tassadar's rotating in, so the option becomes maybe it's going to be a fight. And I think Ballistix is taking care of that. I mean, that's why they're staying together.
Think about how many times we see teams stay just 1 second too long, 2 seconds too long, and then they get caught out. Ballistix, I mean, they are just primed and ready.
They know everything. They know Murden is top. Murden is like the prime initiation, so they know the siege camp is safe. Had they seen Murden mount up and go bottom, they would know exactly how many seconds they have to disengage from that siege camp. Everything that Ballistix does is so crisp.
Well, right now they are on even talent tier, so that's going to give them an opportunity to at least fight for Denial. And this isn't, you can trade here, but this is an opportunity, I think, for them to at least try and feel out, see if they can take a fight. They do have the team fighting mechanics between Li Ming and Tracer, so we're going to see if that's going to happen right now.
Now, the vision is in control for Denial Esports, so they do know that it's the entire team of Ballistix here. So this is a willing fight that Denial is taking. Now, 4 of them at the Watchtower means they cannot funnel through that top camp, which means additional lasers coming out for Ballistix. Now we see the rotation. King Caffeine with the flank up from the top. When is he going to jump in? He's going to jump in. King Caffeine is going to not jump in yet. He will move forward here. Denial seems to be wanting to contest this, but they're not getting the better end of the deal here as they don't have Shrine control.
Yeah, that forced the Dwarf toss out, especially when you think about Tychus with that trait of his eating through that health bolt. There's the stun on the backside. Swoy, but he does have protection. In comes the Sundering on the backside. The Twilight Dream does go down, securing the kill onto Tracer, and a huge play the minute they got close. In comes Twilight Dream, and a huge victory for Ballistix.
Yeah, it's like we didn't talk about the Twilight Dream yet, but as this fight was happening, suddenly I look at Malfurion and the hand goes to the forehead. Tracer comes closer and closer, and it's like, oh my god, they get that Sundering with the disengage. No one to save Tracer, Twilight Dream, and they took her down. So perfect play by Ballistix.
No wasted movements, Grubby. The minute they won that fight, the tower shots went off, the temple shots, and they rotated down. This is just such an amazing team to watch right now. They are making every right play with zero wasted effort.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said for close games of a lot of back and forth, but usually back and forth game includes mistakes on both sides. A typical Heroes of the Storm game without mistakes by one of the teams will last between 6 to 11 minutes. I know that's strange because the average game length is a lot longer. There's also something to be said for looking at a team this good. Ballistix, this is a perfect prime example of how to just not waste a second as you go around the map.
This is game threatening right now. This boss is very healthy. Sylvanas is locking down all of the structures. They're posturing up. They don't necessarily have to commit too hard. You can see Li Ming trying to do everything he can to ward this off, but this boss is pushing very hard. Burst keep going out. Blessed Shield has been used, followed up by the Sundering. Down goes Tracer, and they are marching towards the core.
Tracer gets deleted instantly. King Caffeine and iDream had a bit of a nice flank, nice Arcane Orb damage, but they don't really have anything to stop this. Look at that, the silence! Silence on Merlin, he gets taken down, couldn't even use Avatar.
There's the drill on the backside. Grubby, the boss, still has a little bit of health, and this is going to be game number 2. Ballistix and a completely dominant performance in both games. Going to end this in just under 10 minutes, and this is why they are the #1 team in the world.
9 minutes and 50 seconds, incredible. 3-level lead once again, 5 versus 0 takedowns. Ballistix dominated Denial Esports here.
Well, they told them that in the preview video that good luck, we might see it in the future, but now is not your time, Denial. And they definitely put their statement out there and stamped it and said, we took it home real quick.
It's the master that makes a game look that easy. Very impressive play here by Ballistix, and Denial gets sent back to the drawing board.
You can say that again. That looked absolutely superb out of Ballistix there, going towards the winners match in a very, very clean fashion there. And Wolf, we're joined by Wolf again here as, again, you've cast Ballistix almost more than anybody. Was it as clean cut as you normally see?
It is, and I think that if you want to really look back at what this game is, if you want to show it to someone who's new to Heroes of the Storm or someone who's trying to get better, it's just like, this is what you do when you get a kill like this, when you have heroics, you make this move, you go to this camp, you have this advantage, you have this vision. As Grubby was saying, basically, like on a technical level, on a textbook level, they made no mistakes that game. It was a perfect game, and that's just how it is. So we're going to take a look at one real big team fight here. I'm not going to break down the last one. We're going to break down the one that really basically ended the game. Was roll this really slow. I'm going to pause it here in just a moment. Notice that there's a big root going down here, or excuse me, a big stun going down. He uses the self root to try to survive. Soy is on his way into this bush. Now notice where Glaurung is right now. I'm going to pause it and show you. He's right here. So I'm for some reason unable to draw. Okay, you guys see where he is, all right? He's right there. Now he's going to come in onto SC. As we slow this down, the drill comes in. There's a pulse bomb, but there's the silence onto Glaurung, so he is out of commission, cannot recall, and he's going to go down, boom, to that grenade. Meanwhile, Jungha, out to the top, is getting massive damage done. King Caffeine does escape, but this fight is already won. And with this, they have Sylvanas, they have the pushing power, and they just punish, go for the win right away afterwards. So I couldn't draw on that one for some reason, guys, but you guys get the picture. Basically, we've got the silence going down onto Tracer. She blows up. Good reaction there by Swoy, keeping SC alive, and then Jungha at the top doing all that extra damage while Tracer was focusing so hard on getting that kill, but it just did not pan out.
I didn't get it without the drawings, unfortunately. Where was Tracer? Was she on the right?
She was on the left side.
Oh, yeah.
It was played by Glaurung.
Yeah. The one that
you guys
blew
recall.
Yeah.
Nazebo was on the right side.
Okay.
Yes. Means you should make the call.
But this is what you would expect from Ballistix as a team. Perfect coordination. Did Denial play badly? No. Did they have a bad draft? No. But the mechanics, the coordination of Ballistix is just superior, and that's what caused them to win this 2-0.
I feel like I finally get it when you said that Ballistix is a pretty good team.
Yeah, they are pretty good. I don't want to, go all out and go crazy on this, but
not here.
Not here, not yet. We'll see what happens on the next stage.
All right, gentlemen. Well, enough from you guys, especially from this guy. He's crazy. Of course, as we go over to Anna, who is with one of our members from Ballistix.
I heard the casters mention that first game was an absolutely 100% perfect execution. I want to know, does Ballistix think that was a perfect game, that game one?
캐스트들이 말했는데 첫 경기가 100% 완벽한 게임이었다고 했는데 SESC 생각에는 완벽한 게임이었어요?
조합 자체가 저희가 처음 라인을 좀 잘 나누면은 쉽게 이길 조합이라서 네, 쉽게 이겼던 것 같아요.
So it was good. We drafted well. So since we drafted well, it was a pretty easy win for us.
It did look pretty easy, and in the second game, you also drafted well. We got to see Thrall for the first time. I'm interested to hear why you guys like to play Thrall.
첫 경기에 스트라를 뽑았잖아요. 왜 스트라를 뽑았어요?
두 번째 경기 아니에요?
두 번째 경기. 죄송해요.
네. 쓰랄 픽은 딱히 이유는 없고 그냥 좀 무난한 픽만 하면 이길 거라고 생각해서 무난한 쓰랄을 픽했어요.
There was not a particular reason that we picked Thrall. It was just like it's an overall good pick. So he had an overall presence, which made him a good pick for us in general.
It did seem to work very well. You emerged 2-0 from this match. Now you're moving forward. Can we expect you to be this dominant the whole time at BlizzCon, or are there any teams you think might give you trouble?
이제 첫 진출했는데 계속 Ballistix 계속 이길 것 같아요. 그리고 계속 이기면 어느 팀이 제일 두려워해요?
그냥 결승까지는 네, 좀 다 이길 것 같고 유럽이 좀 견제되고 그리고 MVP 블랙이 좀 예, 두렵긴 해요.
He said, we're probably going to make it to the finals, but some of the European teams will probably give us trouble, and obviously we are a little bit scared of MVP Black.
That is a reasonable fear, and we can't wait to see you face off against all of them. Thank you so much, and congratulations. And guys, we'll be right back with more Heroes of the Storm right after this.